Hello everybody, welcome on back to another meta report for Pokemon Pocket. What up y'all, it's your boy Ben here, and we're going to be going over this week's meta report. What are the decks that you should be playing, especially as if you're trying to climb up those ranks and ranks. sorry, but let's just go ahead and take a look at those deck lists. As always, y'all, we're trying to hit 10,000 subscribers before June, and with your help we can actually make that happen. So if you like the content, go ahead, hit that like, subscribe, and definitely click the notification bell button. And with that out of the way, let's go ahead and look into the data and what it tells us. Up first, we have a deck here that's been played in the Earthsea Day tournament, the biggest tournament over the weekend, and this went 8-0, so calling it one of the best decks in the format right now is pretty strong. So we'll see here we have 2 Giratina EX, 2 Darkrai EX, and 2 Arceus EX. There's this variation now where like folks are dropping the Drud, what that used to be played here, and just kind of going full out with that, and then you're playing a bunch of trainers. So we have Red, we have Cyrus, we have Dawn, we have Mars, we have Sabrina. Then you have your 2 Pokeballs, your 2 Giant Capes, your 2 Rocky Helmets, and your 2 Professor's Research. Ideally, one of these are kind of like your tanks, and then you're powering it up. The Giratina here can be used as a late game sweeper or as a battery engine for Dawn, meaning that on turn 2 you could easily attack with either Darkrai or you can attack with Arceus. This is definitely an all dark energy, so that way you are enabling Darkrai every single turn, willing away. So there's a lot of playability here. Your opponent has to go through 2 EXs. They all are high health, 140, 150, 160, or 170 with the giant capes. So it's a lot to deal with at once, but this went 8-0, piloted beautifully against the meta right now. So if you're looking for a great deck to start off with, this could be one of them. Here's another version of the Giratina Darkrai deck. This one's not playing Arceus at all, so you just have 4 of them, and so that means you just get more room for trainers. Once again, this is including potions, this is including Pokemon Center Lady. You're getting some leafs in here as well. Again, the idea, have one as your attacker here and then just powering up in the back, and then once they're online, you just start going through, and it's really hard for your opponent to keep up with the damage once everything is fully set up. All right, up next we have the Giratina Mewtwo EX deck, this 17er trainer style as well. We're definitely seeing the meta just be like these big behemoths followed by lots of support, and they're running Red, Geo, Sabrina, Cyrus, Pokemon Center, Mars, Dawn, Leaf. Literally whatever you need, you got it here within this deck. The main piece here is using your Giratina to Dawn as well, but because they also just need high energy attack, you can always boost up this Giratina with its ability. Or if you're leading with Giratina, you're attacking, like if you're going first, you have ability, psychic energy, ability, psychic energy, you're attacking. So like that goes really quickly. Or Mewtwo is all set up, you have energy, and you ability, you have second energy, you attack, then you have third energy, and you have Dawn there. That's 4 for side drive, and you go ahead for that there. So there's a lot of potential bursts here because you're running psychic, which means Giratina is a fast attacker in that, and also has another means to support your Mewtwo EX. Capes are definitely huge here, pushing this to 170. Same thing with Giratina EX, definitely allows you to get above some of what these other folks can hit you for. Another cool deck here, this went 7-0 in a different tournament this weekend, standing above the rest, completely undefeated, the only deck to be undefeated in that tournament, close to 300 players, is this Miascata and a Wigglytuff deck here. This is very interesting, and I'm actually like want to try this out. There are no prize points, but what you're getting for that is this green kitty that attacks these EX Pokemon for 130, and then when you have a red attached to it, you're attacking for 150. We still see Darkrai is like in the mix, so you're getting that weakness bonus as well. And then you're running the 1-of with the Jigglypuff and the Wigglytuff here to provide that comforting song, that extra healing damage for 20 per turn. Erica can heal you for 70 as well. This cape gives you an additional plus 20. So there's a lot of room for sustainability, and Mioscata having 140 HP is really nice. Going up against those folks, those decks that like love to stall, gives you room for Sprigatito to cry for help and get your grass Pokemon going as well too. So this is like really nice to get through the deck and to live once you start getting your ball rolling. Everything's loaded to ground with just 2 energy, so that is really clutch. Another strong Mioscata deck here is the Beedrill line as well. We're still seeing 2 lines of the Green Kitty followed by 1 line of the Beedrill here, and because Sprigatito uses cry for help, you don't need the likes of running 2 communications, and you don't need Iono, so that gives you room to play out Red, that gives you room to play out 2 Ericas, that gives you room to play out Team Rocket Grunt, Cyrus. One of the things that really hurts here is like you're attacking with Meow, you attack, you get that 130, they take it down, you get another one because you've been able to pull all your grass Pokemon, you attack again, and then your Beedrill. Crushing folks with Team Rocket Grunt and then following that up with the Beedrill line, sometimes it puts opponents in a checkmate, because regardless of like, you know, they need 2 energy or 3 energy to attack, if they go back down to 0, Beedrill keeps you there because you're discarding an energy from your opponent's active spot every single turn, no matter what. There's not a coin flip like Team Rocket Grunt is, and so that's just deadly. I've been on the receiving end of that. It doesn't feel good. It's an instant concede, and when you can get wins like that, it feels pretty great. Up next, making some noise here is Carnivine, Arceus, and Executor, but this deck is running the Executor non-basic version, and what's really cool about this is that you're leading Carnivine here with the Arceus, giving yourself that chance to be able to attack for 50. You also have your room for Executor, which like it's not as beefy as this EX version, which is 160, but the baby version is 130 with a cape 150. That still deals a lot. You can go up for 1 energy for up to 60 damage, so that's really cool on this end as well too. And with just these grass types, needing only just 1 energy to attack, that just gives you room to power up your Arceus and be able to attack that way. The Iono here is really just to make sure that you can get your Arceus online, or not online, but get your Carnivine online by getting your Arceus onto the bench as soon as possible, and in a tight pinch if you need that Executor to evolve, so that way you can attack right away. What's really nice about this being 1 energy as well is that if you can put 2 of them out on the board, Sabrinas don't mean nothing to you because you can just swap in, swap out, and get them going from there. This is supported by 2 Ericas, a Cyrus, a Leaf, a Sabrina, and a Red. Red is really becoming important in this meta because of all the Arceuses, not Arceuses, because of all the EXs that we're seeing. So I really do like this build, and I do like the swap out here for the baby version of Executor, so that way your opponent has to go through either a Carnivine, Executor, and any combination of like just 2 of what before they then go against the 130 here for the Arceus EX, which is really lovely to have them go 1, 1, and then 2 points here. Up next we have OG Charizard. So this is an interesting list here, and I think it's more of a flavor of choice, but what we're seeing here is the Moltres EX followed by the Shining Revelry Charmander, Shining Revelry Charmeleon, so that way if you don't start on your Moltres, you can attack for 1 energy, then attack for 2 energy, then attack for 3 energy with the OG Charizard, being able to slash, and then for 4 energy you have 200 damage here, but just even doing 20, 40, 60 to the opponent's active spot puts 120 damage on a spot right there. So even then, do you really need to use the Crimson Storm as a follow-up? Probably not, because they're already weak and can lose out to another slash. You have 2 giant capes here. Putting a giant cape on Charizard EX puts it to 200 health. That's a lot of health to go through, but also putting it on your Moltres gets it out of range of that 140, or even it goes to 160, or even a red with a Giratina that it could possibly see. So what I said that the flavor of choice here is these 2 option slots. So if you prefer the Healing Shaman, you're going to run 2 X speeds, but there are some decks, and we also highlighted this earlier this week in our highlight videos on the channel, so go ahead and check it out if you want to, but there are versions running Sky Shaman, so that way the ability to retreat for your basics are 1, and then you run 2 potions instead. This gives you the opportunity to just kind of like heal some more, and then also retreat moltres just for the 1 energy that it has on it, not relying on your X speed here for that to be the case. So whichever one you want to feel good with, I think both of them are really strong, really great. And as we can see, this version with the healing is putting up numbers and results in tournaments. Up next, we have like a Arceus Carnivine deck that is just focusing on Carnivine here, right? As like your main attackers, you have Carnivine and you have Farfetch, just again 1 energy attackers dealing with that, as we saw with the other one where Executor, but you have a stage 1. This is just all basics, so it takes advantage of the Shaman's ability here of Sky Support, meaning that all of these, your Carnivine and your Farfetch, are retreating for free, and your Arceus EX can retreat just for 1 here. And everything is supported by the trainers that we see. Again, you're going to be following a lot of you're going to be seeing a lot of these in these decks: Sabrina, Cyrus, Red, Mars, and Dawn. Mars has really been getting an uptick in play as of late, and seeing that, especially if they're getting through 1 or even 2 of them, making sure you're trying your best to make sure that they don't have their follow-up. Odds are that they will, but Mars gives you a chance at the fact that they won't, then keeping you in the game from there. So with that being said, I like the Shaman, I like the perpetual X speed, I like being able to control my board and play it out. Yes, the opponent may have a Cyrus, but you always play to your outs, and if they don't have that, being able to retreat and control your own board feels really good a lot of the time. Up next, we have the deck that I personally like playing a lot in myself in ranked, and this is the Gyarados EX deck with Manaphy. You have Magikarp, Manaphy, and Palkia, your 5 basics here. Manaphy is to power up everything that else is on the board. You get to 4 energy or to 3 energy with your Palkia or your Gyarados, and then you just start attacking right away. There's a lot of decision makings, especially if you're going into the mirror, the things of like when to attack, when not to attack. But having your Rocky Helmet here on the Gyarados is important, or on your Manaphy or on your Palkia, because getting them down to lose to 140 is big here. You have 2 versions of Red to be able to attack for 160, and you know, like I said before, Giratina and Mewtwo go to 170, so Rocky Helmet allows that break point to go down, so that way you can clear them right away. What's really game winning a lot of the times is if this energy loses on the opponent's side, and so the attack that they were ready to do, they now got stalled in. It really hurts the Giratina decks in general, because if this effect impacts a Giratina, then they're really behind, because they had to end their turn with their ability in order to be able to attack with it. So a lot of times going into those decks and attacking with the Gyarados here can really seal it right away, because losing a turn to power up that Giratina, the momentum is gone. So really powerful into a lot of things. Obviously, you're gonna run into some things, you know, you gotta make sure that you get your cards. You want to see your Misty flip over and do those things as well, but this is felt as consistent as it can be. Up next, we have the Rampardos Lucario deck. We're seeing 2 versions of the Hitmonlee here. We have one that attacks the bench, and then one that attacks the front. Both for 30. We have one Marshadow here, taking advantage of the Lucario with this second Hitmonlee here, being able to attack for 50. Still has that 80 HP, and you know the deal. Rampardos with Lucario set up, attacks for 150. 2 Lucarios attacks for 170, and you have a red here, it can attack for 190. So even getting above to where that Charizard for 180 HP alone, it can still clear that when you have your board set up the way that the Charizard ultimately has their board set up as well too. This again is no EXs, so they have to get through 3 Pokemon, and once they get through their first one, you know that Marshadow is ready for that 100, 120, or even 140 damage, going into weakness and getting that type advantage as well too. This has been very stable, and it's been worked to be able to include red and like this version of Hitmonlee of attacking the front as well. And last but not least, we're starting to see a comeback with Magnezone Fighting Toolbox. We're gonna see if this stays like as a result next week, and as we look into the meta again. But we have here the full line of Magnezone. You're running only fighting energy in this deck. You have 2 Hitmonlees, you have 1 Sudowoodo, and you have 1 Marshadow. Sudowoodo being able to attack up front pretty well against EXs, your Hitmonlee to soften those up into the back, and really just dealing your big damage hitters here for 110 in Magnezone, or for your Marshadow 100 after being softened up by Sudowoodo, or being softened up by the Hitmonlee. We're running 2 Cyruses because that Hitmonlee can definitely reach into the back. We're running 2 copies of it, so it is consistent to see this card from time and time again. And our Iono here is just to help us get our stage 1s. We really want to generate that electric energy, so that way Magnezone has that opportunity to attack multiple times and not just once, because once you put that Magnezone on, you don't get that. And so when on the turn that you hit the Magnezone, make sure to always hit your Volt Charge. I have been there, I have done that. I'm thinking I'm ready to go and get too excited to evolve without hitting the ability first, so make sure you don't miss that when you try out this deck. So let me know, y'all, what was your favorite deck for this week's meta report? Are you excited? Are you bored with the meta? Are you having fun with the meta? Where are you at in general? Let me know down in the comment section below. As always, go ahead, hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell button, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.